Welcome to today's webinar, courtesy of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. Discover no-cost, valuable business services to help you thrive, whether starting your entrepreneurial journey or scaling your existing business. We have the resources and expertise to help you succeed. For more information, please visit our website or text 502-977-5800. Thank you for joining us today. Feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions or engage with our speaker. Let's get started.
Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to another Toolkit Tuesday. We try to build this just for real business owners like, people juggling all kinds of customers and cash flow and all that kind of stuff. It's if you don't, we are part of the Small Business Development Center, and that the Small Business Development Center is a national program. We have a great guest today from one of our colleagues in Georgia. So we're going to spend a lot of time with Robbie Parks today. But each week we try to focus on one tool that you can go back to your office and use today. Got a great one today. So I'm really excited to talk to Robbie. As always, if you have any questions or comments, because this is a great opportunity to really engage with someone who knows her stuff. So if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the chat and we'll get to them. So what's very helpful is be specific to your issue, what you're trying to accomplish, and get some real advice today. And always, if you're joining us from YouTube, please click the subscribe button. That really helps us out. So as always, I'm joined with my good friend and colleague, Janet Flaw, who's driving the ship for us. Hey, Janet.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. So excited to have Robbie back with us.
Yeah, Robbie is with the Georgia SBDC, but she is a nationally known trainer and speaker. I had the opportunity to see her in Orlando, Florida last year at a big national conference and stuff, and she is a spectacular speaker, knows what her stuff. So, Robbie, thanks for joining us, and I know you're so busy. I really am honored that you have taken time out of your day to share with everybody here with the Louisville Center.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's just not mess around. Let's just dive right in because, we hear a lot about AI and using AI specifically to help, move your business forward is really something that's on top of mind for everyone. And you being in the small business community, I think you really know how to, distill down this bigger subject into some actionable techniques that you can use in your business today. So, Robbie, why don't you share your screen? Let's just dive right in.
Sure. Happy to. Give me just a second. And we hope that Zoom will be kind.
There we go.
How's that?
There we go. Looking great. You're doing good.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm getting the message that my internet connection is unstable. So we've had a lot of ice and snow here. If I start breaking up or hang up, just let me know, throw that in the chat. And if I disappear, I will jump right back on. So just if it can go wrong, it will. But yeah, my name is Robbie Parks, and I'm here to talk about everyday AI for smarter small businesses. Say that 3 times really quick. This has been said. I am a statewide CE trainer and business consultant in Georgia. And my area of specialization when I'm consulting is marketing, search engine optimization, and now generative engine optimization, artificial intelligence. I have the techie side of my brain that fires and then the creative side of my brain. And I really, really got into using AI from a marketing perspective. And I feel that that's kind of the gateway for a lot of people to start dabbling in AI. So when I was doing this and teaching about marketing, I was like, man, AI can really help with every functional area of the business. And so that's how this class kind of started and evolved. So I do have my contact information. Would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. So if you need help, please let me know if I can help, or reach out, of course, to the folks in Kentucky, and they can bring me in if you want to take a deeper dive. And I will be happy to make the slides available. I know that this will be available on YouTube, but do have a lot of prompts that we'll go over today, and would love for you to just be able to copy and paste those into your AI platform of choice. So I'll let you know how to get those at the end. And David said this, but I'll just reiterate. If you have questions, please throw that in the chat or the Q&A. I'm keeping an eye on that. We will have time for Q&A at the end, but don't feel like you have to hold those until the end. So this is what we're going to cover today. I'm going to start with just an overview of artificial intelligence. Then we'll move into actual AI use cases. And this is going to be kind of the bulk of the presentation because I want you to leave with actionable things that you can put into your business right away. And then I've got introducing. Maybe you might already be using Notebook LM. If not, this will be an introduction for you. And then we will wrap up and have time for final Q&A at the end. But again, put questions as we go. Don't feel like you have to hold those. So McKinsey said, and this is why I love AI, is that when it comes to innovation, it's the ability to conceive, develop, deliver, scale products. And Jacqueline, so the question is, will we get the recording? It will be available on YouTube. So David can give you or Janet more information on that, on how to get that. But yeah, so you'll be able to see that on YouTube, and then I'll share the slides. But thank you for that. Great question. All right, so this is why I really love AI, because before AI in the old days, right? It was really hard for small businesses to compete with the big guys, right? I mean, it just was. Because if you wanted to really scale your marketing, you usually had to outsource or hire people. If you wanted to scale human resources or scale operations or logistics, you had to outsource that, pay for that. And that was beyond the reach of a lot of small businesses. With AI, it hasn't eliminated the need for that. And I'm not saying never outsource, but if you don't have the budget, you don't have the budget. And so that's why AI is really leveling the playing field for small businesses. So let me ask you, and put this in the chat, are you currently using AI? And if you are, how? So are you using it for marketing, social media, human resources, personally, travel planning, whatever? Let me know in the chat if you're using artificial intelligence, and if so, how you're actually using that in your business. While you're I love that. I'm sorry. Just watching other people using it. Hey, that counts. That totally counts because that's how you learn things. That's why you're here. So yeah, content creation, social media, newsletters. You see what I'm saying? Marketing, website, research. Yeah, seeing that a lot. Intercepting customer inquiries and scheduling. But see, marketing is how we've kind of dipped our toes into it. And that's great. I'm a marketer. Hey, I'm not against that. But want to show you, if you're only using it for marketing or just watching other people use it, how you can feel empowered to start using that for other functions of your business as well. So thank you so much already for the interaction in the chat. We're going to have this kind of feedback throughout. So this is awesome. Learning accounting, yes, as someone who's not a finance person, and it's funny when people learn, I was an accounting major for 2 whole semesters in college, and that's all it took for me to learn. I hate accounting with every fiber of my being. So yes, if you want to learn an unfamiliar topic, it's great for that too. So, all right, thank you for that. Now, I do want to kind of touch on, if you're the person saying AI isn't new, you're right. AI, we first used that term in the 50s. I say we, I wasn't there. But AI has been around for a very long time, and it's pretty much integrated in everything we do now. But what I'm talking to you today is about generative AI. This is the ChatGPTs, the Geminis, the Copilot. Somebody put Grok in the chat, Perplexities. All of these that kind of put the power of the AI into the hands of us mere mortals. So these are the platforms that let you create new content. That can be anything from text, images. We'll see some examples of that. If you either haven't played around with images, or if you're like me, got very frustrated with images when it first first became available, even coding. The generative AI is great for that. Can answer questions conversationally, and conversationally is the big thing here. It's like having a conversation with someone, summarizing complex information, generating ideas. Someone said brainstorming for inspiring ideas. Yes. Oh, and Angela, I see this in the chat that a video of people saying stop using AI because everyone's starting to sound the same. You're not wrong, and that person wasn't wrong. We'll touch on that a little bit in the cautionary tales, but you are absolutely right. So, a question I get asked a lot is, which is the best? Some of these platforms are specialized, like Gamma, that is for slides, if you want to create slides. Adobe Firefly, that's going to be more for images and that type of thing. Grammarly, I use that all the time. It is part of my life. That is, think if you use Microsoft Word or Google Docs, it's like spell check and grammar check, but everywhere. So I have it actually as a Chrome extension, and it is, well, I use the free version. There is a paid version. I don't pay for it. I haven't felt the need to. So the answer is, which one is the best? The one that you like? I mean, that's it. I personally and professionally really cycle between ChatGPT and Claude. Claude was not great when it first came out, in my humble opinion. When it rolled out with, I think, version 4 point something, it got really good. I mean, really, really good. So if you haven't played around with Claude, it's an Anthropic product. Claude is great now. But I have people that totally love Gemini, totally love Copilot, totally love Perplexity. Someone said research. That's how Perplexity kind of came onto the scene. But play around with them. Try a couple, sign up for a couple of free accounts, put the same prompt in different ones. You'll find the ones that give you the answers or the responses that you like. There is no best one, it's whichever one you prefer. I also get asked a lot, should I pay for it? This is where, again, if you're not paying for it and you're getting everything you need from the free version, by all means, keep doing that. I'm not telling you to pay for anything or how to spend your money. I personally pay for ChatGPT out of my own pocket. I think it's what, $20 a month or something like that, for some of these reasons that I'm about to go over with you, because there are some differences. First of all, paid versions are typically, they perform at a higher level. You might, if you're using ChatGPT, what are we up now? 5.2 uses thinking. You're not going to get that in the free version. So you're going to see more capabilities with the paid versions. I mean, that makes sense. These are all big businesses, and businesses want to make money. So they're going to funnel more resources into what people are paying for. This was the big reason why I started paying for ChatGPT personally, is because there's limitations to how many prompts you can use in a day or in X amount of time. And I'm always using AI, either personally or professionally. When I'm building a class like this, I might go through 40 prompts in a day, and I can't be throttled. So just know that if you say you've reached your total number of usage, that's why you're not paying for it. This is another thing I have seen with the free versions that I still use, like Claude I mentioned, is that there are some, if I have a more sophisticated or complicated prompt, it will churn away and then will say, you've reached your max. So again, that's just a limitation with free. And then also latency. You might find that the free plans run a little slower than the paid versions. So ultimately, you get what you pay for. But again, if you're loving life with the free versions, keep doing the free versions. All right, yeah, Angela said ChatGPT regularly tells me I have exceeded the daily limit. That's why I started paying for it. And it's not just ChatGPT. Any of these will throttle you at a certain point. And I mean, slow you down, not strangle you, not that kind of throttle. All right, so let's talk about a prompt. There are entire disciplines on prompt engineering. We will go into none of those, except for one that I really like. It's the RTF example, role task format. It is simple, easy peasy, and will get you pretty much everywhere you want to go. So that's where I like to start out. And then you can research different prompting frameworks if you want to take it to the next level. But with the RTF format, we'll see an example of this in action. You're basically saying, acting as a, I want you to behave like this, or pretend you are a, give me a, what do you want it to do? and I don't always use the format, but this is if you said a bulleted list. I want it in a table. I want it in something I can export to Excel, right? So let's see an example of this. This is Gemini, just for no other reason than I was using Gemini when I did this. Acting as a marketing agency, that's the role. A marketing agency, not an economist, not a Kardashian, right? As a marketing agency. And I say, please to the machines, please give me 10 ideas of content to post on my Strawberry Farms Facebook account. Yes, if you're thinking, why do I have to say I'm a strawberry farm? Can't I train the AI models in who I am? Yes, you can do that in some of the versions. Some require you to pay in order to train it at that level. I cannot, because I'm always doing this. So if you just want to have some fun, go to ChatGPT or your platform of choice and say, what do you know about me? And hopefully for you, it will give you very specific things related to you or your business. For me, it's going to say you own a strawberry farm and you're a business consultant and you have a coffee shop and also a welding shop. Because I'm always doing this, either with teaching classes or working with clients. ChatGPT is very, very confused about who I am. So one day I'll clean it all out. And then last but not least, this is the format. I want you to give it to me in a table. And so you can see here, sure enough, it did. I didn't have to say 10 ideas, but I just kind of like to scan quickly and pull the best from different versions. So that's the RTF framework in action. Don't have to stick to it. It's just kind of a good framework to start. So I mentioned this earlier. We used to, in the old days of 2021, 2022, when ChatGPT first came out, this is what AI can do. Now it's what can't it do? And the sky is the limit, right? It has its limitations, but for the most part, in every business functional area, from operations to marketing to cybersecurity and everywhere in between, AI can help you. And we'll see some examples of that for almost every functional area of business. So here's one with efficiency. I mentioned earlier that it's great at summarizing content. For this example, I uploaded the operating agreement for the Apple Watch. Only because it was available, it's pretty techy, and no one reads it. Because we know if you want to use the Apple Watch, you will accept the terms or you don't use the watch. We all know that. I had one class where I said, who actually reads the agreements? And one person raised their hand. And I said, you're a lawyer, aren't you? And they were. So for most of us, me included, we don't read this. What I did is I uploaded the PDF, and you can see my prompt right here. If you can see my mouse moving, my prompt was not in the RTF format. I said, please summarize this for me. And sure enough, it did. I didn't tell it was the Watch OS software license agreement. It knew that by reading it. So if you're saying, okay, this is great, but I really don't care what my watch agreement is, that's fine. It could be summarize board minutes. It could be summarize this grant proposal. It could be something like summarize all of my emails for me. Anything, any painful document that you want summarized, it can help you with. Let's talk about management. So here I selected King Ranch only because it's a big business and it's not in Georgia or Kentucky. I typically pick places not where I am, so it doesn't look like I'm favoring one business over the other. But for this, I just said, hey, I own King Ranch. Acting as an economist, can you, not a marketer, not a social media strategist, again, not a Kardashian, never a Kardashian, can you provide me with a report of how the current regulatory environment in the United States could impact my business? And so this, if you see this thought, this was me in the version I paid for. This now, If I owned King Ranch, I might know what some of this means, but water and habitat rules, post-Sackett and ESA litigation, I have no idea what that's talking about. So here I go on to say, this is great, thanks, but can you put it in English? That was pretty much it, right? Here, just break it down in bullet points that I can understand. And so you can see it did that. This is called prompt chaining. It's where within the same chat, I'm not starting a new chat, I'm just having a conversation. And if you're intimidated by AI, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. Treat it like a friend, treat it like an associate, treat it like an assistant, where you're saying, okay, lawyer, can you just make it easy for me to understand? And that's exactly what it did. Not seeing questions so far. I'm keeping my eye on the chat. I'm just going to keep moving along. Now let's move on to operations. So this is where, when I'm teaching a class in real life, I say, raise your hand if you have standard operating procedures documented. I might get a hand raised, and then I say, raise your hand if you know you need standard operating procedures. And this is when I get more hands, and I say, everybody raise your hand. You need these. But I get it. So you're running the business or you're doing the tasks every day. You don't have time to stop and just document what you're doing. But it's a great idea to have these in place for a number of reasons. So if you're saying, okay, Robbie told me I need standard operating procedures, where do I even get started? Here you can ask it, what do you need from me? And it's going to give you a list of things. From here, you can prompt chain and say, okay, number one, here is the purpose of the intake. Robbie is responsible for handling client intake, the administrative assistant, and on and on. If you're thinking, man, this is a lot to type out, it is, but you can also go to, I don't know why I'm stuck on administrative assistants today, probably because they do all the work, but go to that person and say, can you just write down what you do every day? How do you open the office in the morning? How do you handle a customer complaint? You can then scan and upload that handwritten document to your AI platform of choice and say, create standard operating procedures from this. It's just that easy. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be intimidating. Just play around with it. Let's move on to finance. Someone said learning accounting, same. This comes up a lot for small businesses where they either completely don't understand finance, which, no judgment, marketing and finance are typically the two areas that mystify businesses the most. You are in good company. But let's say that you're planning to meet with your bookkeeper and you want to sound like you have some talking points. You want to sound like you're informed. Or if you're just looking at this as part of your planning. Okay, I own a landscaping company. Can you help me understand the attached financial statement and let me know if you see anything that I need to be worried about? What I did here, if you're saying, whoa, you uploaded confidential client information? No, I didn't. QuickBooks Online has a free demo account that you can play around with. And I think you can just Google QuickBooks demo account or something like that and get access to it. It's nothing complicated. It happens to be for a landscaping company, and I happen to download the financial statements. That's what I uploaded. And so sure enough, okay, that happened quickly. You'll see that it's starting to go through the process. It was a profit and loss statement, which I didn't tell it. And it's basically saying, all right, here's your expenses, other expenses. Wait a minute, why were miscellaneous expenses so high? Are your legal and professional fees ongoing, or is this a one-time thing? This doesn't replace an accountant. It doesn't replace a bookkeeper, but it's just kind of great for scanning and helping you look at things that you might never pay attention to. So we've got some questions coming in. What do you tell a 21-year-old senior college student in marketing to do next? We'll hold that until the end. And if I forget, remind me. Is it Cotton, remind me at the end. And so how do I get ChatGPT to write a written? That's coming too. not that specifically. Yes, there is a risk, and we'll talk about that at the end. Cautionary tales. Thank you for that. Same for can we trust AI? We'll talk about that too. I love it. Great questions. All right. So, and I know I said I'll take questions throughout, as I'm literally not taking them. I'm deflecting them only because I'm covering this and it's coming up. So, and if I forget, remind me at the end. So, I am a human resources professional. Let's move on to HR. And I said Home Depot only because I could download their employee handbook offline. I mean, download it online, because I don't want to, upload proprietary or confidential information, obviously. And so what I did is I said, look, I'm a human resources professional. Here's our handbook, and here's the SHRM. That's the Society for Human Resource Management, something like that. And so I've got the SHRM sample. Just because we've got 2 SHRM certified consultants in our network, which is great. And they sent me that. And just look at the 2. These are 2 very painful documents. I don't want to really read either of these, and certainly don't want to compare the 2. Can you just do it for me? Sure enough, it goes through and it's saying, all right, compared to the SHRM, which is the standard for HR, this is what's missing. Okay. So if you've got those 2 painful documents, this is my standard operating procedure. This is the standard operating procedure from somewhere else. What am I missing? Not seeing questions specifically to this. Yes, I see the questions that we've talked about. I know I'm moving through this super fast because my point is, to stay on time, of course, but also I want you to see what AI can do. I want you to say, oh, this is what I've been meaning to do. And then when you get the slides, I want you to copy and paste these prompts and make it specific to your business. So I realize I'm flying through this. If this was a class specifically about HR, we would go deeper into it. But I want you to play around with this on your own. And then if you get hung up, reach out to thank you, Angela. Flattery will get you everywhere. Reach out to the Kentucky SBDC, and their consultants can help you take a deeper dive into all of this. So that's the point. Yes, I know I'm flying through it. Yay, hearts. Okay, sorry. I'm a marketer. I love this kind of feedback. So this is one, help me write a guide for managers on how to mediate workplace conflicts effectively. Y'all, we have 5 generations in the workforce right now, and alpha's coming up, right? So, 4 really big players being, let's see, we've got the boomers, Gen X, the millennials, and Gen Z are the big ones right now. And again, the baby alphas are coming up. There's conflict, right? There's just conflict in the workforce. So if you're saying, I know I need to do this, here I'm saying, look, I want to write a guide, and I want you to do the formatting for me. I want you to include clear divisions for chapters, identify headings appropriately, and sure enough, it does. Now, you're going to want to make this your own, of course, but this is just a great way to get started. If you're like me and sometimes you see, okay, I need to do the thing, and I have an open Word document and a blinking cursor. And that's pretty overwhelming, and I don't know what to do. So I'm closing my laptop and I'm going to go do something else. If you're like that, AI is just great at getting you off go, just getting you off go. So let's look at marketing. This is another one, like standard operating procedures, where I say, who has a marketing calendar? A hand will go up. Who knows you need one? Everybody's hands go up. And I say, if you didn't raise your hand, raise your hand. You need a marketing calendar. So this is an example of a particular event, a farmstead Christmas event. Give me a marketing calendar promoting the whole thing. And so you can see 6 weeks before the event, 5.5, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, the content type, and even a caption for the post. We don't copy and paste, but this is a great idea of, I have this event, I've done it 5 years in a row, I'm completely uninspired, just help me with what I need to do. And also, kind of along the lines of that, when someone says, I don't even know where to get started for a marketing calendar, I say holidays and unofficial observances. What I mean by that, there's always a National Cappuccino Day, a Hug Your Dog Day, or whatever. I always start with those because that's the low-hanging, easy fruit for a marketing calendar. So here I'm saying, give me those days related to disaster preparedness. Maybe I'm an insurance agent, okay? And disaster preparedness is a big deal. And so sure enough, it's going to go through and give me a list. Are these correct? I don't know. You want to fact check, but this is giving you a starting point. You want to be that human in the loop, though, because let's say I'm in Georgia. I'm an insurance company in Georgia. National Tsunami Awareness Week, here kind of at the bottom, is hopefully not a thing we ever have to worry about. We worry about lots of weather in Georgia, but not tsunamis. But if you're in California, yeah, that's going to be something you want to mention. So you can do a marketing calendar around an event or just around the industry. This is just an example of how it looks in Claude, only because I feel like I'm using ChatGPT and Gemini a lot just because that's what I happen to be cycling between. But you can do the same thing in Claude. This is the free version, and that's just how it looks. Again, Anthropic's not paying me, but I really like Claude. I didn't at first, but it's come a long way. So this is another thing. How do I know what's trending? When TikTok got rid of the trending part, it ruined my whole world because that's like, how do I know what the young ones are keeping up with now, right? That's a South youngins. So you can actually ask it, what is trending right now? I own a women's clothing store. Give me some stuff about what's trending. This was last year, August of 2025-ish, and it was all about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and their engagement. Looking, and sure enough, you can see here, it's giving some engagement appropriate things because that was what everybody was talking about. Same prompt, but October-ish of last year. And now it's completely different. Now, apparently there was a windbreaker moment. I didn't know those ever went out of style or trended. Eyeshadow comeback was apparently a big thing. Now, again, if you're saying this is really girly, well, yeah, because I said a women's clothing store. If you said I own a welding shop or an accounting firm, you're going to get different stuff, right? And that's the beauty of AI. You can tailor it based on your business. If you did that exact same prompt today, wait till the end of the class, you'll get an entirely different set of trends. Honestly, I have no idea what's trending right now. I haven't looked, but I could at any time. Again, with marketing, let's say you just have a picture and product descriptions are the bane of a lot of my clients' existence, where it's, okay, here is the 100th product description about a spice or a jet ski or shoes or whatever. You can actually copy and paste here. Now, I don't have a jet ski, so I just copied from Google. Don't do that. It's copywritten. But for this example, I said Control C or Command C for my Apple people and Control or Command V and pasted it into, what did I use? Gemini for this one. And sure enough, it's giving me a 100-word product description. I said include citations. This is something you might still see when fact checking. You notice at the bottom how it's fact checked, but let me go back just to this previous example. Do you see these little bubbles, cosmopolitan, that kind of thing? AI tools now, a lot of them are now including the sources directly in the response. So you can fact check it that way. If it doesn't, it's always a good idea to say, give me citations or let me know where you found that. Let's talk about cybersecurity. I said marketing and finance are mystifying. I'm not even going to talk about cybersecurity because this is one, and I won't get on my nerdy soapbox, I promise. Cyber is one people just say, I don't know, I'm putting my head in the sand, and it's not a problem until it is a really big problem. If you don't have at least a minimum cybersecurity plan in place, reach out to the Kentucky SBDC. They can help you with that. Just very simple, getting you just some kind of fundamentals, a checklist to get started. But in this example, I'm the chief information officer for a small flooring manufacturer, and I want to create a guide to help my employees just protect themselves and the company from cyber attacks. Now, I don't expect you to know what the NIST framework is. If you're a cyber nerd like me, that is like kind of the framework for cybersecurity. I just pasted the link to that PDF there. It's very painful. I don't recommend reading it unless you need help going to sleep. Can you please generate an awareness guide at an 8th grade reading level? Now, this is not a read. I am not picking on people. I'm not saying people at flooring manufacturers read at an 8th grade level. I'm saying that the average American reads at an 8th grade reading level. So what I'm saying here is take this super techy, super complicated, super no one understands this, and break it down for me so that people that are not cybersecurity people can understand it. And sure enough, it's giving you some references here. So again, everything from social media to cybersecurity to finance and everywhere in between, AI can help with that. Questions about this so far, other than the ones I promised I'm coming back to? Okay. So I will touch here on Lisa. I'm sorry if I'm just being terrible at names. It's not intentional. So this was a written information security plan that the IRS requires. Thank you, Lisa. Requires CPAs to have. This is where I showed you. Now I know that was cybersecurity. Yes, you can use it to write a plan. However, anytime the letters IRS are involved, or GOV for government, anything requiring strict licensing, I always say, yes, you can use your AI platform of choice to help you come up with a framework and then an initial plan. You want several levels of trained professional humans to read that over because the stakes are just too high. Anytime with licensing regulations, again, IRS, GOV, those scary letters, you definitely have a human look at that. The example I gave for cyber was I just want to give people an idea of, don't leave your passwords on your desk, please. Yes, I've seen that happen. All right. So yes, they are very scary, all of those letters. So now let's talk about Notebook LM. This is a free product. It is from Google. It is a Google product. So you can either just Google or Bing or whatever, Notebook LM, or this is the direct link and you can just click on that when you get these slides. So I want you to think of Notebook LM as all of these policies and procedures and marketing guides and timelines and things like that you're using AI to put together for your business. If you're thinking, this is great, where the heck do I store this so people can actually get to them? This is not a replacement for an intranet, or if you've got a wiki or something like that you've built for your business. This is an alternative, not better or worse, just different. Okay. And this is a free tool just to kind of dip your feet in playing more with this. So when you go to notebooklm.google.com, it's going to look something like this. And you can see at the bottom here, these are notebooks that have already been created by Google, just so that you can kind of play around with those, or they're ones that have been made public. So you can certainly play around and see how these notebooks that have already been built looks. But if you want to start from scratch, you will do just that. Create a new notebook. I'm telling y'all, this is so easy. What I did for this, just to kind of mirror what we've been talking about a little bit, this is the University of Georgia New Hire Toolkit, just because I could get it online. This is the consulting guidelines for the UGA Small Business Development Center for our consultants. And this is the branding standards, right? So we talked about marketing, we talked about policies and procedures, we talked about HR kind of stuff. So these are the documents that I used for the point of this demonstration. From here, I clicked upload files. If you can see my mouse circulating. Why did that happen? All right, upload files. And then I navigated to where I had those saved on my computer and I uploaded the files. So then you can see these are the documents I just mentioned, our brand standards guides, consulting guidelines, and the new hire handbook. You can also see that Google gave it a title, gave my notebook a title. I can change this just by clicking up in this. I can say stuff employees need to know, right? You can name it whatever you want. Also notice that over here, Notebook LM also populated this. So it basically scanned what I gave it and it's saying, okay, here's this little overview. It also has just some prompt guidelines that you can use to help people get started. This point where it says start typing is very much going to work just like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, whatever. But here's the difference. Instead of searching the World Wide Web and everything in between, you're building guardrails. You're saying, I only want you to pull from these guidelines. If you're saying, hey, my stuff is online, that's okay. You can attach a URL as well, the www dot, right? And send people there. So you can have PDFs, documents, specific websites that you want people to reference. Just play around. And again, play around. Do this. You will have to have a Google account, a free Google account. You can see mine. This is my free one, not my UGA one. And just create a notebook and start playing. All right, over here at Studio is where the magic of Notebook LM comes to life. And we'll see an actual demo of that if my internet will cooperate. And I'm probably going to turn off my camera for this just to not test things. So give me a second. I'm going to switch screens. Let me turn off my video just because I've learned this lesson the hard way. And we are going to shift over to... where did Notebook LM go? See, this is what happens. Let me stop this share and pull up this, and then I'm going to share again. Okay. See, if it can happen, it's going to happen. All right, let me drag all of my Zoom stuff out of the way. You might not be able to see this, but I can. Does the paid version keep information data confidential? I'm seeing in the Q&A as I'm dragging it. That is a big, it depends. So what you can do is check the privacy settings for your particular platform of choice. So you can Google that, or you can just ask it in a chat window, hey, is my information private? But this is a really big, and I've turned my camera off so you can't see my air quotes, allegedly. Ultimately, this information is going into the cloud and it belongs to OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or whatever after you put it there. So that's just the big caveat. I'm super paranoid about that kind of stuff. All right, so let me attempt to share my screen again. And all right, come on, Zoom, cooperate with me. All right, so you should be seeing now Notebook LM. Can I get a thumbs up or a chat or an okay or a something if y'all are seeing this? I'm going to assume yes. Yes. Okay. Awesome. All right. It says I'm screen sharing. So this is literally what I'm doing. Thank y'all for that. This is literally what I built. So you can see here, I can start typing something like, when do my employee benefits start? Okay. And then you can see Grammarly. Let me turn that off so you see, I'll try to turn it off. So what it's saying here, see, locating, coming over here, and then it's saying it depends on my hire date. And then it gives me information that it pulled directly from the new hire handbook. Okay, this could be anything. What is the official UGA red color? If you're saying, all right, I'm sending this to a printer and I want them to nail our official guidelines, the University of Georgia is kind of funny about that, as they should be, right? This is important for marketing. And sure enough, that is our primary red, which is bulldog red, because of course it is. We also have a secondary red called Glory Glory that's a little brighter. So this is, your employees can type whatever they want, pulling from these references. But again, I mentioned Studio, which is where the real power comes in. I have already done this because it takes a minute. It actually took 15, and I didn't want y'all to have to sit here and watch that churn because it was painful. But you would do that here. So the audio overview, the video overview, a quiz, flashcards. You can see if you just hover, it will tell you what it's going to do. But let's start with the flashcards. What was the primary goal? Now, you can limit this just to the brand standards, just to the employee, just to cybersecurity, whatever it is. But you can cycle through those. If you want to see the answer, just click here. And yes, that is true. That is who answers those questions. Area offices are responsible for what? Local media. Right? So those are flashcards that you can go through and generate. So if you have kind of an onboarding, what did you learn or knowledge check, this is a great way to prep people. You can expand it or you can close it. Another thing that you can do is you can create a actual slide deck, a video about this. I did nothing here other than click the button that said generate this. I didn't give it any sort of guidelines.
Have you ever wondered how a huge organization makes sure it looks and sounds exactly the same everywhere it shows up? Well, today we're going to peek behind the curtain. We're deconstructing the official brand rulebook for the University of Georgia's Small Business Development Center. It's a really fascinating between a true just beneath the surface.
I'm just skipping through here.
And the answer? It all comes down to this.
I didn't do any of this. I mean, again, I can't, and you can download it. See here, you can share it. I can't emphasize that enough. If you're thinking, yeah, I'm not a graphic designer, you literally just click video overview, and that's what I did. Now, you can give it some guidelines if you want to when this pops up, and I'll just show you what that looks like. No, I'm not. Oh, see, it started again. But you have some functionality here. But this is what's really cool. It will actually generate a podcast. I did not create either of these voices. I didn't give it any guidelines whatsoever. I just clicked audio overview, and we're going to start that. And I'm going to turn it to interactive. So when I hit play.
Okay, let's unpack this. We usually think of a brand as the fun stuff, right?
Yeah, the logo, the jingle.
The cool logo you slap on a t-shirt, maybe a catchy tune that gets stuck in your head, or the vibe of a Super Bowl ad. But today we are looking at something entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at a document that argues a brand is actually a reputation.
Oh, hey, welcome. What's up?
Hi, this is Robbie coming to you from Georgia. Can you tell me, what is the point of a brand standards guide? Like, why is that important?
Robbie, that is a fantastic question.
Welcome, Robbie from Georgia.
And that question actually gets to the core of this entire deep dive.
It does.
Why does an organization need a comprehensive publication like this?
Why do they need this guide?
Well, the guide states it really clearly.
What's the point?
Brand consistency helps the message stand up.
How cool is that? Right? I literally did nothing. And yes, if I were doing this in real life, it automatically just picked brand standards. But if I were doing this in real life, I would probably have a podcast for the handbook, right? For the brand standards, for cybersecurity or whatever. But that is how very cool this is. I did not create the voices. I did not do anything. But when I clicked join, you saw right away, and I'm doing big air quotes here, let me in. And it was like, hey, how can I help you? And that's pretty cool. So I would encourage you, once you have all of these amazing documents created using AI that you have reviewed, I would encourage you to play with something like Notebook LM and just have fun with it. Now, as I'm stopping the share and pulling up PowerPoint again, Yes, you can do this for something like your kids' flashcards, helping them get ready for school or that kind of thing, right? I get all of that. I'm just using this in a business perspective. So let me pull this over again. I'm going to share my screen. Let's hope this goes off without a catch. All right, let's load here. All right, hold on. Do this. See, this is so clunky. All right, PowerPoint. Swap. All right, let me get back to Zoom and hopefully I will have some controls. All right, we should be back to the PowerPoint. If we're not, let me know. All right, so hopefully you saw how incredibly powerful something like Notebook LM can be for helping you just kind of keep all of this in order. Another thing where AI really excels, and I never thought I would say this, is image creation. If you have not used it for image generation, or if you're like me and you used it before and got really mad and just hated life, I would encourage you to try it again. Google came out with Nano Banana. No, I didn't. I don't like the name. I think it's dumb. Nobody asked me, but you go Google, you do your thing. This is an amazing tool for image generation. And so when you're in Google Gemini, this is free, even though you might see Pro, this is free. You want to make sure that when you do the prompt, you have it set to image, this little banana. And here, just for grins, y'all, I was not being serious about this. I said, create an image of a calico cat riding a bicycle, and this is a park that we've got near me. And so sure enough, it did it that quickly. How adorable is this? It is everything that I asked for. But if you look closer, Mulberry has 2 R's. And last I checked, cats typically have 2 ears if they're, doing okay in life. So it's not perfect, but do you know how long? Okay, I was about to say how long it would take me to create this. I wouldn't. There's not enough time in the world for me to create something like this manually. And I did that with just a prompt. Also with Nano Banana, I can use that same prompt and turn it into a video. There it is. Is that completely random? Yes, but you know what? I had fun with it. Now, notice, see if you can see here, down here kind of on this, this little handlebar, he's got a weird paw situation. He's also got a floating paw situation up here. So again, it's not perfect, but it is a pretty good start and coming a long way. ChatGPT released Sora. I think you have to pay for that, maybe. But these tools are becoming increasingly advanced and increasingly high tech. So if you haven't played with it, I encourage you to do that. Cautionary information, and this is kind of coming back to what y'all put in the chat before, because this covers a lot of that. So first of all, AI generated content can be wrong or biased, or can give a cat 1 ear, right? Or put weird paws when cats typically don't have 3 paws. So you always want to request citations or fact check. Definitely be the human in the loop. AI generated content is becoming increasingly difficult to detect. This is just more of a, when you're out on social media and there's this thing that's exciting people or, outraging people, like the Pope wearing Balenciaga. Google it. It was a thing. It was fake. Paris overrunning with trash. It was fake. It is increasingly difficult to detect. So just review everything. And if you can't fact check it or find a credible source, Facebook is not a credible source, always just fact check, be critical. Someone mentioned this. Yes. Everybody is using AI to do everything, and we're getting tired of it. We can see it. I'm saying we, the consumer, we're getting tired of it. We want to see something that's real, to the point where platforms like Pinterest, for example, even has where you can exclude AI generated content. So just know that when you're putting AI content out there, think like your consumers. And you have to be the human in the loop for marketing and everything else. Just be mindful of that. And this is another thing. I've said human in the loop. It's a real term, I promise. Avoid over reliance, because that's another concern that as humans are kind of putting everything into AI, we're losing our edge. AI is not human. AI cannot be human. When AI becomes sentient is when we have the Terminator. So you are very critical to being that human in the loop, and always check your privacy settings. My paid version of ChatGPT, I can turn off, and I can say, now ChatGPT is kind of slick about this, where it says, it doesn't say privacy or security. It says, help us improve our models. If you turn that on, it means it's using everything that you put in there to train the machines. So just check the privacy settings, and ultimately, if it's super confidential, if it's proprietary IP or your grandma's favorite banana pudding recipe, don't put that. If you don't want it on the web, don't put it out there. Wanted to use an example of this. I was doing a class on AI usage for Georgia Power, and I actually asked what percentage of small businesses are using it, and it said 28%. And I know that's wrong. I just know that. So I fact checked it and said, where did you get that? And you can see in the middle where it said you're absolutely correct. This is Claude, but it's not exclusive to Claude. Okay. All of them are prone to that. So I want to, because we have 2 minutes left, and I want to go ahead, open it for Kentucky to come back on. But here's how you can get the slides. So yes, it'll be on YouTube. Scan the slide, scan this if you want me to send you the slides, and I'll do that afterwards. But I'll keep an eye on questions in the chat and the Q&A. David, I see you're unmuted. Take it away.
Okay. Yeah, now's the time to, just got a little bit of time left. If you have any last questions, now's the time to get that in there. But so I don't know. I mean, I usually have questions, but I don't really have any. You're really such a great presentation, and you kind of covered so much. And there's a lot of stuff I'm going to play with. I've been messing with Notebook LM too, and it's a fantastic tool. So I'm glad you brought that up. That was really good. So,
Right. And if you're like a lot of people, I have just taken in a whole bunch of information from a fire hose. But again, the point is, take these slides and just play around with it. Just have fun with it and see what it can do for your business.
Yeah. The key to all this, I think, and I think you hit it very well, Robbie, is that now that you kind of know that this stuff is out there, the way to really learn it is what you say. You just have to do it. I mean, that's, you can understand how to play baseball, but until you play it, then you don't really understand how to play baseball. So that's that's the next step I recommend for everyone.
We had a question come in, and I'll answer this in the chat, David, if you've got more. But the question was, does Google use AI to detect deceptive content? Pretty much every AI, Google, the different browsers, pretty much everyone is implementing safeguards to, I say everybody. Meta has recently loosened their restrictions on I'm doing air quotes because I don't remember their exact terminology of deceptive things, but yes, AI giveth and AI taketh away. So depending on the platform, yes, there are scans in place for deceptive content. Not always.
Yeah. All right. Well, Robbie, this has been fantastic. I can't thank you enough.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And if it would, I don't know, David, you tell me. So if it would be helpful, I'm happy to hang on and just answer these questions in the chat. But if you've got a hard stop, we can be done. And I will just say, reach out to the Kentucky SBDC or shoot me an email directly, and I'll answer questions one-on-one.
Yeah, I can do that. But then let's get Kits in. She works with logistics. Can we use it to alert me to where I get a email notification? Is it as opposed to having to monitor my emails? I think, yeah.
Yep. That's a great question. And so that's going to be it depends on the platform. Most, the platform and your settings, right? So, for example, if you use Gemini and you have the correct settings and Gemini Workspace or Google Workspace, yes, you can connect those two and AI can kind of act as your virtual assistant. If you're saying, I want ChatGPT to read my Microsoft Outlook emails, there's usually an intermediary between the two. It's called an API that connects the two. Think Zapier, that kind of thing. And you can do that just depending on the platform. So a quick way to say yes. And what I would do is just Google or Bing or whatever, how to use ChatGPT to connect to Outlook. And you'll get some info on that. Great question.
Awesome. All right, Robbie, thank you so much. It was good seeing you again, and I'm hoping to see you this year at the conference. So,
Yes.
And Janet, thanks for driving the ship as always.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Robbie. If everyone will stay around for a quick evaluation, that'd be great for us.
Yeah.
Thanks,
And we will
everyone.
see you next Tuesday on another Toolkit Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. See you soon. Bye-bye.